Mangnall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, and if I might apologise to members as I have to step out at 10:30 for an APPG that I'm chairing. Could I thank the member for South East Cornwall for her work on this issue, securing this debate, and her work as chair of the APPG on fishing. Mr. Chairman, I'm extremely fortunate that within my constituency I have Salcombe, Dartmouth and Brixham, making it unquestionably the most beautiful coastline in the country, which I'm sure members will all agree with. However, there lies within my constituency three particularly prominent towns which are benefiting from us leaving the CFP. In Salcombe and Dartmouth, we have a shellfish industry that is only booming, that is looking at exports both within the European Union and further afield, and I hope to be able to support them. And I think my honourable friend for South East Cornwall has already raised some of the issues and concerns with the under 10-metre fleet vessels, especially with the recent introduction of this app. And with Brixham, I have the highest valued port in England in terms of catch. And I would like to use this opportunity to add my thoughts about the future of the UK's fishing industry and how we might be able to support that. There's no doubt that the feeling within this chamber has been that our fishing industry has been let down over the last 40 years, and that we now have an opportunity in 2020 and 2021 and the years ahead to be able to reignite the relationship that we have with our fishermen, but also with those waterside businesses, of which so many are dependent on a vibrant coastal community infrastructure and economy. I think it is time that this House and this Parliament and this government will be able to show its dedication to those fishermen and to those businesses. And that potential can be unlocked in a number of ways. Firstly, and undoubtedly, by securing a free and independent coastal waters, ensuring that we are not just talking about the freedom and right of navigation, but the freedom and right for us to be able to fish those waters to the full extent, and allowing us to be able to negotiate and renegotiate on an annual basis. We had colleagues recently in this room from Norway who were discussing their arrangement with the European Union, and I think that is something that we would all like to echo, especially to you, Minister, as something that the UK might seek to replicate and enhance in the coming years. We must also make sure that we're creating a flexible working model that relies on co-management. I think having the variety and multiple voices of different areas across this country feeding into how we exact policy across our coastline would be something of enormous importance and something extremely useful. And I would also like to make the point that actually having an English representative, a ministerial representative for our English fishing fleet would be in line with what the devolved administrations have, and something I know that my fishermen in Brixham are extremely supportive of. Last year, the government also very to much applause, introduced the Maritime Fisheries Fund. And I welcome this for the communities that can bid into it. But for my own port in Brixham, of which I repeat is the largest fishing port in England, it has been unable to bid for that fund because it is a local authority port. Now, I don't believe that sends the message that we want to say that we are supporting our fishermen when a government-announced fund restricts them from being able to bid into this. So I hope the Minister and his team will work with me to be able to help me find a way in which we can support that port and other coastal communities across it. But as I've mentioned, there are a number of waterside businesses that I'd like to see us exploring in the years to come, whether that's boat building, dry dock facilities, fish processing plants, the restaurant trade, tourism and environmental conservation, many of which are included in the fisheries bill that is coming before this House soon. These are all really welcome opportunities, but we must explore how we can increase that infrastructure across this country to allow us to exploit the enormous benefit that it will have to our communities. Our fishermen are those stewards, and their success will breed the success of other industries. A little bit of mention has been made about the under 10-metre fleet, and I'd just like to touch on it briefly, which is there does seem to be a problem for those under the 10-metre where they are registering their catch, and they are basing their lists on EU port data, which means that in my constituency, a number of the ports are actually not registered. And so we are not able to then put in applications for bids because those ports are not registered on the EU data app. And so therefore, when we would like to request funding for, say, winches or any equipment for those ports, there is therefore an inability to do so. The second thing is actually revolves around digital connectivity, which is that an app that is unable to connect means that in my constituency, which lags some 9% behind the rest of the country, in terms of digital connectivity, it makes it near impossible for any fisherman coming in to be able to connect and register that catch before landing, and something I would very much like to see delivered. Finally, I would just like to touch on this, which is that Scotland is home, I believe, to a skipper training school. And there isn't such one that I have recognised, and I'm very happy to be wrong on this, within England. I am working during my own, within my own fishing roundtable, which held its first meeting 2 weeks ago, to see how we can explore opportunities to be able to create a skipper training school, to encourage people into this industry, to ensure that people can see the vibrancy and opportunity that comes within that industry. So I would hope, again, we might be able to explore the different avenues and potentials to be able to expand that. I'll end on this, is that the Prime Minister is often quoted as saying that he is in favour of oven-ready deals or opportunities. This seems to me like there is a perfect opportunity for us to be able to deliver for our coastal communities and to expand on an industry and a trade that we have a long and fruitful history in. And I look forward to working with members across the House on doing so. Thank you.